Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's Nomonde here, and in today's video I am going to be reviewing and just generally sharing my thoughts on the newest Miraculous Ladybug Season 4 episode Hexan. And boy do I have some thoughts on this one. Just to get it across, there will be spoilers for Hexan in this video, so if you haven't watched this episode, I would recommend you give it a quick watch, because as much as I do have some critiques on Hexan, it was an okay episode. So usually when I do my episode reviews, I break down the episode and share all my thoughts as I go on. But in today's video, I just want to do a quick summary and my general thoughts on the episode, then I will go in depth with the problems I had within the episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. When the episode starts, we see Marinette pretending to be sick to get out of going to London to visit her aunt. Because if Marinette goes, Ladybug can't be there to save Paris in case of an akumatization. Now we skip over to Hawkmoth's lair, where Dusu and Nuru are talking about how they wish Shadowmoth would be defeated right in front of him. But doesn't seem like he cares, because he is too busy planning on akumatizing Markov again. So he creates the Sentimaster Hexan with the ability to infect Markov's emotions. I want to talk about Hexan a little bit more, but we'll get into that at the end of the video. Now we skip over to Alia and Marinette at the train station, where Marinette gives Alia her Miraculous. But this was sort of underwhelming for me, because we have seen Marinette in difficult situations, but she still manages to become Ladybug. So giving up her Miraculous just because she's going to visit her aunt just feels like they could have done more to raise the stakes. Now Alia is on the bus and we see her struggling to come up with a name for herself, not only in this scene but throughout the entire episode. Although in her defense, I thought Lady Luck was pretty good, but Captain Bug and Super Bug were a huge no. Alia goes back to her friends and is acting awkward whilst trying to make sure no one has any negative emotions. Looks like the awkwardness comes with the job. Gabriel then gives Natalie Hexan since the Sentimonster works like a computer virus. Markov then clicks on a random pop-up and I just wanted to scream at him. You don't click on random pop-ups, that's just Internet 101. My dude was asking to get a virus. Long story short, Markov gets infected by Hexan and soon after gets akumatized into Robustus, who has the power to control people and take their most precious possessions once they answer their phones. We come back to Marinette and her parents on the train to London when her parents receive a phone call from Markov and they give her up as their most precious possession. And to be honest, these train scenes were a waste of time. I didn't care what Marinette and the rest of these people on the train were doing. My main focus this episode was Alia with the Ladybug Miraculous. We now skip over to Alia, who transforms and is looking so good with the Ladybug Miraculous. And this really got me thinking, why do Mr. Bug and Scarabella's superhero suits look so good, whilst Ladybug's one on the other hand is ugly? I mean, it suits her, but compared to the other heroes and the other versions of the Ladybug suits, Marinette's one is just boring. They even try to give her an upgrade in Season 4 when she uses her lucky charm, but it disappears, so it may as well be non-existent. Now whilst Alia is still trying to come up with a good superhero name, Cat Noir arrives, and thinks that she's a Sentimonster or a supervillain that did something to the real Ladybug. So he attacks, and I can't hold him to that. It's a reasonable reaction given how he didn't even know that there would be a different Ladybug showing up to the scene. But I find it extremely difficult to believe that Alia defeated Cat Noir so easily when she has the least experience fighting compared to him. And I know Cat Noir can fight. But hey, the story's gotta move. On their way to what I'm assuming is to go look for Robustus, our heroes hear someone calling for help, and Scarabella goes to help, despite Cat Noir saying it's a trap. Turns out he was in fact right, and this was indeed a trap. And I like that, showing how Scarabella is new and inexperienced at being a part of the powerful Bug and Cat team. She just dived into a situation without really thinking, but Cat Noir knew what was up. Now seeing that they've been cornered, Scarabella and Cat Noir run into the Wax Museum, only to discover that this too is a trap. The statues were actually humans under Robustus's control, and I'll give it to Robustus and Shadowmoth. This was a solid plan, and actually could have worked if the villains didn't need to lose after each episode. Scarabella then calls upon her lucky charm, but she starts doubting her abilities as Ladybug. But Cat Noir starts hyping her up and telling her that she can do this. Although I am down for Cat Noir supporting Scarabella, this interaction ultimately did not make sense to me, but we will dive into that soon. Scarabella then strikes a deal with Robustus, and blah blah blah, it's not important because Marinette ends up saving the day. And this is just one of my problems with this episode. I will elaborate soon. We've reached the end of the episode, and Scarabella does bye-bye little butterfly and Miraculous Scarabella. However long later, Marinette returns from London, and Alia tells her to go and talk to Cat Noir. But Marinette over here looks surprised, leading me to believe that she wasn't even planning on talking to Cat Noir about all of this. She is making it very hard for me to stand her, but I am trying. Ladybug goes to talk to Cat Noir, and she tells him that someone else indeed knows her secret identity, and that she would be mad if he told someone else his secret identity. And I'm just gonna lay it out there, I may be being dramatic, but Marinette has to be the biggest hypocrite of a protagonist I have seen in a while. And the sad part is that this is not just a one-time thing. Her hypocrisy has been a recurring theme in seasons 2 and 3, and I wished season 4 was different, but that's a topic for another video. Cat Noir says everything is okay and that she didn't hurt his feelings. The only thing that he's scared of is losing her. And I'll admit, this scene did make me emotional the first time watching, because Lady Noir is my favorite ship, and it's crumbling. But watching it for the second and third time, I was not happy. And that leads me to my first problem with Haxan. You would expect a moment with such importance would be fleshed out more and not feel like it was just thrown in there last minute. I personally have been waiting for Cat Noir to find out that someone knows Ladybug's identity since Gang of Secrets aired, so you can imagine the disappointment I felt with such a vanilla reveal. The way Ladybug has been preaching since day one that no one can know their secret identities, I expected some reflection of anger, but instead he gazed into her eyes as if he were falling in love with her all over again. And I'm not gonna sit here and be naive. I can see that everything in the season is leading up to something big, most probably a Lady Noir fight. I just feel like this moment was way too short, and given how such an important thing was being revealed. But this does make me think about Rocketeer, where Nino reveals his and Alia's identities. Maybe the anger that he felt in that scene is the anger carried over from this episode, but it would have been interesting to see that anger in this episode, even if it was just a 10-second clip of him being sad or angry in his room. Earlier, I said that Cat Noir hyping Scarabella up did not make sense, but for the sole reason of how did we get there? From straight up almost cataclysming her to doubting her abilities as the holder of the Ladybug Miraculous because she walked into a trap, and now suddenly he believes in her. I would have loved to see a scene where they are arguing and disagreeing with each other, then almost get captured and realize that they must put their differences aside and work together. And I get the whole time limit thing with the episodes, but honestly, you could have shipped Marinette away to London for the entire. Hi, Editing Namonde here. I just noticed whilst editing that my recording cut out. I don't know for what reason, but it just got cut out. But yeah, what I was saying is that we could have shipped Marinette away to London for the entire episode and then only have her come back for the Lady Noir sunset scene. Meaning all that time that we have with Marinette and those random people on the train, we combine that time with the time that we already see Scarabella and Cat Noir and actually have them work together to form a plan together to defeat the villain together. And that leads me into my final point and my biggest problem with Haxan. This far into the video, you may assume that I hate Marinette. I actually don't. Like, come on. Season 1 Marinette, she was top tier. Season 2, though it did start going downhill a bit, Marinette was still best girl. But Season 3 Marinette, now you can keep her. I don't want her at all. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that she has become very unlikable over time. But honestly speaking, I am just tired of her. In every single episode, she saves the day. And I blame myself for thinking that this episode would be any different. I have a feeling that this episode was supposed to be an opportunity to develop Alia by showing her that there is more to being Ladybug than just wearing the suit. And although the idea was nice, I can't say the same for the execution. It feels as if after that one goal was accomplished, someone decided that it would be a good idea to slap on Marinette there because it can't be a Miraculous episode without Marinette or Ladybug. At the end of the day, it was still Alia's plan, but the writers have come up with very cool plans for Ladybug, so I know something could have been done here too. And I get that it's Ladybug's power to fix everything with her miraculous ladybugs, but have someone else come up with a plan for a change. I also can't help but notice how it feels like other characters are incapable of functioning without Marinette or Ladybug to help them or save the day. All I ask for is just one episode where Marinette or Ladybug does not contribute to saving the day. Even Scarabella is the main character in this episode, and they couldn't even let her get this one win, and I will forever remain salty about this. Scarabella deserved better. And not letting Cat Noir and Scarabella work on a plan together as a team is just extremely wasted potential. So those are my 3 main problems about the episode, and this is just like one last critique that I found whilst rewatching the episode. It's the whole Haxan Sentimonster thing. From what I got, Haxan can infect Markov's emotions so that he can get akumatized. Even Shadowmoth said the only way to defeat Robustus is to destroy Haxan. So what I'm getting is that he could just akumatize Markov repeatedly, because it seems like that was the whole point. You can never defeat Robustus. So even if you de-evilize him, Haxan will give him some more negative emotion juice, and bam, we have a never-ending villain. So the way Shadowmoth just snapped him out of existence just didn't seem to make sense with what he said earlier. All in all, this was a decent episode. I would give it a 4 out of 10. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 5 for Scarabella. Definitely not one of my favorite episodes, but I really wanted it to be because Scarabella. But it's definitely not close to my most hated episodes like Desperada, Queen Banana, Puppet 2, etc. This was just a meh episode. Will I watch it again? Yeah, solely for Scarabella purposes. And have I talked about Scarabella? Just know that I stan her, and Alia is most definitely rocking that suit better than Marinette ever could. I said what I said, and I don't regret it. I honestly feel like this episode had so much potential, and so did the dynamic between Cat and Scarabella. And did I mention that I hate that ending, and to summarize my thoughts, I hated that ending. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications so that you don't miss out when I upload a new video. Feel free to also leave your thoughts on Haxan in the comment section down below, because I want to know if you guys liked this episode or am I just judging it too hard. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Andy out.